Welcome to When Good Things Happen, where our mission is to inspire people to discover and learn about all the things that can really make the golden years the very best of your life and share a few financial ideas to help you make your vision for retirement a reality. Host Tom Gandolfi is your guide on a how-to adventure to help enhance your retirement lifestyle.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in once again to another episode of When Good Things Happen. Hey, we got most of the month of January behind us, and we're in 2022. Glad to say that 2021 is way back there in the rearview mirror. It was kind of a rocky year, I think, for all of us on a number of fronts. But hey, things are getting better, and as we kind of plow into the new year, I wanted to give everyone a good story and maybe provide a little direction or maybe just some inspiration for you as you retire. And, one of the things I talk about is that sometimes retiring doesn't mean anything more than just moving on to the next phase of life. You may end one career and start another. You may end one phase of your life and start another. So today I invited George Crumley to come in. He's one of my clients, and George has got a great story, and I like what he's done for all kinds of reasons. He's really busy. He's done some great things for not only himself, but for his family and for others in the community as well. So I wanted to bring him in, have him talk about some of that stuff, and that's what we're going to do. So, hey, George, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Tom. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like I said, you've got a pretty cool story, and we're going to kind of do this in different parts, but got to break it down that way because you've done so much since retiring that I can't just cover it all in one swoop. I think you're probably a lot busier now than you were when you were working.
Well, yeah.
Fair? Yeah?
Yeah, that's fair to say.
But now you're doing stuff you want to do.
And stuff that I enjoy.
How cool is that?
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. It really is.
Your job was great. George was a corporate guy. He worked for a big corporation, had a good career, saved, did well, and all of those things were good. But hey, you were still going to work every day.
Every day.
And it was work.
It was.
This is keeping you busy, and it's kind of work, but it's kind of your love too.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the first thing I want to kind of talk about is what you've done for your family, which I think is a fantastic idea. I think that probably a lot of folks that are retired think about doing it, maybe don't know how to get the ball rolling or get it started. So I'm going to ask you about some of that. So what George has done is George has kind of made it his mission to educate his kids on personal finance. And I think he's done that, A, because he loves his kids, but secondly, because he recognizes that the school systems don't do a great job of providing that kind of education. They just don't. And hey, that's education you're going to use for the rest of your life. So George has kind of taken it upon himself to introduce his kids to a number of different financial professionals in different fields and have them get some exposure and some direction very early on so they can get themselves on the right path. And we all know that time is golden when it comes to saving and accumulating wealth. So he's kind of done that and put them on the right path. In fact, I've spent some time with them myself and kind of given them some insight with regards to investing and retirement accounts and watching taxes and Roth IRAs. And we talked about all kinds of different things. And I know you've done that with a number of other professionals as well. So kind of tell me why you did that.
Well, actually, Tom, a lot of things started with the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We had all this extra time. Everybody was at home. Mm-hmm. So I would talk to my kids about finances,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted to bring it all together. So everyone using Zoom, I said, okay, I'll get a Zoom account.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, let's do a weekly call. And I just initially invited just the kids, and I said if they had any friends. And it kind of grew from there.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I don't have a lot to talk about as far as going into deep details as far as finance, because I'm not a financial professional.
Right, that wasn't your background. You weren't a finance guy.
Exactly. But with my corporate background, I was a coordinator. Mm-hmm. So it was easy for me to see where I could bring in additional people that I knew that could talk about subjects that were important to my kids.
Yeah.
I think that it's opportunity and exposure. And especially at that time, they were talking about giving people money, and it's like my thing was, if you give a person $1,000 but you don't tell them how to use it, they're going to go out and buy a big TV,
Right.
and that $1,000 is gone.
Right. Well, that's that whole thing with if you give a man a fish
Exactly.
You'll feed them for a day. If you teach a man how to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime.
Exactly.
Same kind of thought process.
Exactly. And I've been real fortunate that I was exposed to a lot of things early in life, not realizing how they affected my life and how I grew. And I think if you're exposed to a lot of things as far as how other people live, opportunities and things like that, then it broadens your scope as far as what's available to you. Because when you look at it, there's no difference really between me and you.
Right.
It's just the fact that, it's opportunity sometimes.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to make sure that my kids understood that that opportunity was out there, buying houses, not just buying cars, but buying houses, and not just buying one house, buying multiple houses.
Right.
Investing, And one of the things that I always started my talks off by is, when you start talking about budget, you're not talking about taking something away from yourself. Because that's what people
That's what people think. Yeah.
I said, you when you budget, if you like to, go out on Friday night, you budget for that. If you like to buy clothes, you budget for that. You pay yourself first.
You're actually paying yourself, and that's what people don't get. They look at it as a restriction rather than as a freedom.
Exactly. So that when those things come up and there's the money there for it, then you just go ahead and do it, and it's not an issue. It's when you don't budget for things and you're like to say, stealing from Peter to pay Paul, and then you're taking the money from the bank account, or you're taking the money to you would pay your gas bill or something like that.
Yeah, Peter wants his money back sooner or later.
Exactly. So it's just a matter of how you allocate things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole thrust of how it started.
Yep.
Actually, we're still doing it today. We're not doing the Zoom calls as we did before, but now we do a call on Tuesday, and it's just a bunch of friends, and we get together and we talk about different financial. We're on dividend stocks now.
Yeah,
we're looking at stocks that pay dividends, and we trade information. So I invited my daughter to a call. She attends. Got a nephew out in California. He attends. So it's just about sharing information. We're talking about other things, other investments, vending machines, just a lot of things that are out there that you wouldn't really
exposing them to different ideas.
Exactly.
And that's the key. We're all going to have our own vision for how we want to do things, but if you don't know what you don't know, it's hard to make good decisions.
Exactly.
And I think that's huge. I really do. And you have, you and Sharon, your wife, have done a great job raising your kids, because you have great kids. I mean, you really do. And I'm not just saying that because you're sitting in front of me. I've spent some time talking to them, and you have got great kids.
Well, thank you.
Were they receptive to this idea, or did you kind of have to, encourage them a little bit to get it started when you?
Well, we got 5 kids, so
right.
They're not all going to receive in the same
of
form.
Course.
Right. So my 2 older daughters are kind of go-getters, so they're somewhat more receptive to it. My son, my oldest son, he's in the middle of, he just bought a house. So I would say he was definitely receptive to it. Yeah. He's got a great corporate job. My youngest 2 are receptive to it. In fact, my youngest daughter, she basically actually brought me some information about some different financial things that she was taking in a class, and kind of enlightened me some things that I didn't know were available.
So that's awesome. That's
right.
That's when they're kind of into it.
Right.
When they're bringing something back to you.
Right.
I can just see, I guess with my family, and I got great kids, I can just see them going, "Oh, Dad, I don't want to do a Zoom call about this." I mean, did you kind of have to go through that a little bit?
That's my youngest son. He's kind of like, "Yeah, Dad, if tell me about it."
I'm not down with this or whatever.
I'm kind of focused on other things, So when it's my turn, I'll kind of absorb it. So it's different with him.
Yeah.
But I think they all kind of looked at it in different ways. They attended some calls they didn't. But I think it's just your motivation and where you are in life.
Yeah.
But for me, it's providing with your information, and when it's time for you to use the information, you have it. And I think that's more so than anything else.
Exactly. You know what? They may not, and I'm not talking about your kids, I'm talking about kids in general. And, kids can be 35 years old. I mean, you and I are old guys, so our kids are kind of getting to the point where they're actually adults and whatnot. Kids may not realize the value of the information they're getting when they are first exposed to it, but sooner or later, they're going to kind of recall it, and it's going to help them later on in life, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But one of the things, the calls, like I said, expanded. So it wasn't just my kids. And when we keep saying the word kids, I mean, my youngest is 29.
Right, exactly.
So they're not really,
we're not talking about 9-year-olds.
No, we're not. But we did talk about expanding this and doing educational classes for kids 16, 17, and 15, 14. In fact, with my youngest grandkids, I started like a 529 plan. And then with my grandson, who's just turned 15, I started a stock account. So instead, on birthdays and things like that, instead of giving them shirts and
stuff they forget about in 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give them $100 or $200 and so go buy these stocks.
Yeah.
I'll give him different stocks, hoping that this will grow, and as he gets older, he'll see the benefit of it. So starting a nest egg for them, I think, is very important.
Yeah.
But then other people, 40, 50, 60 years old, a lot of this information was new to them also because they weren't exposed to it early on.
Right.
We were talking about bonds yesterday, and one of the gentlemen, he's in his 60s, and he wasn't aware of municipal bonds
and how they work
and things like that. So, and then we try to educate ourselves. We talk about crypto and things like that because I'm still learning. Yeah. But like I said, we all are
learning every day.
I don't profess to know any of this stuff in the level of detail, but I try to bring it out, and I try to bring individuals that are more familiar with it. I have a very good friend that's really into commercial real estate, and we have a lot of conversations. So we all kind of have our area of expertise.
Right.
And I use the word expertise loosely.
Well, you're the coordinator.
Yeah, I'm more the coordinator.
That's okay. But I mean, that makes a good manager when you can find resources to pull in and get the job done. That's what you want.
Exactly. And of course, Google's our friend. We have to, if we're not sure, we look it up there and whatnot. But it's good. It's fun. Yep. We make it fun. Yeah. And I think that's important.
That helps too. Yeah, for sure.
And I'm a big believer that you should talk about money. You should. It's not a taboo subject.
It's not a forbidden subject. I agree.
I mean, the knowledge that I have does me no good if I don't share it.
Right.
So, and that's one of the things that I always talk about. If I don't share the information, what good does it do?
I'm a big believer in that. In fact, you and I have had lots of conversations over the years. Obviously, I try to do things in a very educational way, and I try to do things in a way that whoever I'm working for kind of is on the same page, and we're talking the same language. And I don't expect anybody that walks in our door to be maybe as financially proficient as me, because that's why they've hired me. But I think sharing information and doing things in an educational way only provides benefit for everybody. So I'm a big believer in that.
Exactly. I mean, it goes back to my corporate background. Is that I wasn't I had technical folks working for me, but I wasn't a technical person. But I had to understand what they were doing and the language. Right. And that's the same thing, a principle I apply to finances. If I'm going to come in and talk to you, I'm going to kind of understand what dividends are, what
the basics,
what the buzzwords are, so that I understand exactly what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
So, and I mean, that's always been my philosophy.
And again, they don't teach it in school.
They do not teach it in school.
Not one little bit of it.
They don't.
Which is frustrating, but
it really is.
It is what it is. It's important stuff that can be used for the rest of one's life. You'd think they'd have some part of the curriculum, carved out to do that, but they don't do it.
Exactly.
I've done the same thing with my kids, and they both have investment accounts. They both know how to trade. They both are pretty familiar with how things work. They both have significant balances, and it's not because of anything I've given them. They've saved it. They've earned it. They've invested it. And they see how it works. So it's really, really helpful. And the way that I got them started with the whole investment thing was, everyone has things they like. We all have special interests and hobbies and stores we like and whatever else. So when we first started out with their investment accounts, I asked them a few questions about what they liked. And we invested in areas of interest for them. So now all of a sudden it means a little something. They both own Disney stock. It's not a recommendation for anybody out there, but that's what my kids own because they both happen to like Disney. So they have some of that. And they've, picked things that are in fields that they have some interest in, sort of as a starting point. And then when they see that, hey, these things can make money, then they start expanding their horizons just a little bit.
Sure. And that's interesting because, people seem like to think that they're so different than other people. and here you're telling this story,
Mm-hmm.
and yet I use the same when I set up the account for my grandson.
There you go.
I
See?
said, what do you like? So he's into tech stuff. So he bought Apple, and he bought a lot of tech stuff. But I think the more we talk, the more we see that we're similar as far as individuals.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes the world.
Absolutely.
And I think if people kind of understood that more, so that they're more alike than dislike, then they'll understand how other people think and why they think that way. But yeah, I mean it's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. So I'm going to use that to kind of shift to the second endeavor now you've kind of taken on. So we already talked about you had the corporate job, and you moved on from that. You retired from that. You kind of started with this financial education idea for your family, and then you decided to expand just a little more. You love basketball.
I love basketball.
You've been a coach for 15 plus years.
Yeah, about 15 years. Yeah.
But last year, in the middle of the pandemic, you decided that you were going to go ahead and become a basketball coach for a local high school.
Yeah, I'm what they call a community coach.
Okay.
I'm not actually a teacher, so to do it from the outside, I still have an ID basically for Fulton County, but it's a community coach, and I basically assist with the varsity team, and then I'm the head coach of the JV team.
So tell me which team are you doing, and which high school, and give me some details here.
It's Centennial High School.
Okay.
Here in Roswell.
Yeah.
And it's a growing team.
Yeah.
It's growing. The good thing about it last year was we had a lot of ninth graders, which is encouraging, because in a high school situation, you're always building for the future. So it's always about who's coming up. Obviously, you want to focus on who you have now,
right? But
you got to continue to restock.
Got to build that pipeline.
You got to build that pipeline.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
So you doing boys or girls?
I'm doing girls.
Okay, good.
I'm doing girls. I've always done girls.
Yeah.
I think I coached basketball for boys once, but I enjoy it. And I guess I take a different philosophy. I'm not just teaching you how to bounce a basketball. I'm teaching them how to navigate in life. I kind of use the analogy of how sports and basketball, allows you to build friends, makes decisions, and things like that. So it's almost like what happens after the ball stops bouncing. What are you going to do then? How can you still use these tools? So
that's a huge part of coaching.
Exactly.
The most successful coaches, I think, focus on that as much as they focus on anything else. I spent a lot of years when my kids were younger coaching their youth sports teams. We did soccer. We did softball. We did basketball. So did a little bit of those myself. And, the lessons they learn, beyond hitting the ball or making a basket or kicking a goal, those things are fun, and you got to teach them those skills as well. But the other things that they learn about how to interact with others, even those that you maybe don't get along with quite as well.
Exactly.
How to deal with adversity.
Exactly.
How to challenge yourself.
How to speak up for yourself.
Yeah, those things are all important.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of stumbled on it like you. Like I said, having 5 kids, I coached all those sports.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd be coaching now, but it was just a situation where I had a men's team, and obviously I played, and I kind of coached them. And then one of the gentlemen that was on the team also asked me if I'd want to coach, girls, and I was like, sure,
why not?
I guess I'm not. And this was about 15 years ago.
So how often do you guys practice?
Oh, now we practice every day.
All right, so you spend every day with how many? 14?
Yeah, we got about
high
12.
School girls.
Yeah, about 12.
12 high school girls.
Yeah.
Probably challenge them once in a while, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's only from October through February, maybe or 1st of March.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not a long period, but yeah, we go every day.
Yeah.
And then we have games twice a week.
Nice.
But it's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I enjoy giving back. I enjoy seeing them grow. This year's kind of challenging. I've got some girls that never played before, so I'm teaching them, and I'm learning. So I'm learning things. I've never had to teach someone from the beginning, how you shoot the basketball, the actual fundamental techniques of how to shoot the basketball. So that's a development skill that I'm learning myself as I'm going through it, and I can see the progress because I've seen the girls go from just throwing the ball. Now it's actually hitting the front of the rim or soft touch to the rim and things like that.
Whole technique in their shot.
Yeah. And I think and as I tell them, I'm not looking for you to make the shot. Because if you were making the shot, we wouldn't be doing this. Okay. But I'm looking at your technique, because if we get the technique down, then you'll start make the shot.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, and I coach that way too. I tell them, I'm not looking to go out and win every game, but I'm looking for you to compete in every game. Because if we compete, we put ourselves in position to win.
Yep.
And that's where we want to be.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot of strategy. I enjoy it. I enjoy the coaches that I work with. And it keeps me busy.
Good.
At one point, I was coaching all year round. I would coach like I said, Centennial through this season. Then I'd go back to AAU, and I'd coach AAU through June or July. So it's fun.
Full calendar.
Full calendar. I've been doing this for a while.
All right, so then on top of that, we'll move on to the next phase now. So now you're doing some real estate too.
I'm doing a little real estate also.
All right.
And that kind of comes, I've had my license actually since 2000.
Okay.
And actually, I started preparing for retirement. I always had a goal. It was probably a silly goal. I was going to retire when I was 35.
Hey.
You know, so.
Got to shoot high.
Yeah, and I guess I started doing things subconsciously to prepare myself for that. You know, buying real estate, doing a lot of investing with my brother. We bought a lot of properties. So it helped us. I had my license, like I said, since 2000, but I never really used them. But knowing that once I retired, I'd want to. So, yeah, actually, as soon as I retired, then I activated them. And I've been doing that. And pretty much because of my schedule, I usually only work with the referrals.
Right.
Relatives, my kids, things like that. But it keeps me engaged.
You do more residential stuff, I guess?
I do mostly residential, but I am trying to do more commercial now. I've started to attend more meetings to get myself more acclimated with commercial real estate. I mean, I see it fascinating. So, I'm getting more in commercial. So just trying to expand my knowledge. And I have people asking me more about commercial. So just trying to expand my knowledge as far as more on that side. But yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Just fun stuff.
Yeah. So, I think the top line here, the 10,000-foot view, is that you had a great career, worked for a big company, things worked out well, allowed you to, or gave you the opportunity, I should say, to save and get to the point where you could retire and then move on to doing stuff you really loved and wanted to do.
Exactly.
So that's kind of what your days are filled with now, right?
Absolutely.
You're educating your family, you're spending time with them on that stuff. You're giving back to the community by coaching high school girls basketball, even to some beginners, which is cool. And you kind of expanded your business opportunity with real estate as well.
That kind of sums it up.
That's a full plate.
That's a full plate.
That's a full plate. You know what? That'll keep you young.
Oh, it does. It does. And on top of all that, I try to, exercise as much as I possibly can. I'm an athlete, so I try to run as much. I'll walk or, work out, ride my bike or, things like that. So, because if without your health, I don't care how much money you have. It doesn't really
nothing else matters.
Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
So, that's foremost,
Yep.
that I always talk about is being healthy and keeping yourself healthy. So that's very important.
Well, and that's why I had you on. Again, we're at the beginning of the year here. I think that you are making the most of retirement because you're doing what you want to do. And that's what this is all about. And when people come in here and I have conversations with them and maybe ultimately I wind up working for them, I want to help them do whatever it is they want to do. That's what I see my job as being. And I'm an investment guy, and of course I've got to advise on money and build plans and make sure they stay on track. But at the end of the day, the things that I do and the plans that I build for people for their retirement are all directly focused on making sure that they're doing what they want to do. And that's what this is all about.
Absolutely. It's so important. I never thought I'd be in this position. Like I said, I thought, I'm going to work towards being retired at 35.
Yeah. Didn't quite make that.
Didn't quite, didn't make it even close to it. But, I feel like I'm 35.
Well, you know what? That's what counts.
And I'm doing everything, like I said, I want to do. Me and my wife, we travel. We've traveled internationally.
And you went to Australia before
Australia,
all the shutdown stuff happened?
Paris, Venice, So we've done a lot of that. I hope to do some more of it as things kind of calm down.
Yeah.
But like I said, being able to share this information is so important to me, because I don't want to feel like, I'm an island and I'm doing something that no one else can do. I want to show that anybody can do this. You start young, and you have time on your side, and basically because of that, you can afford to invest and let it grow.
Absolutely. And even if you haven't started young, you can still get it done.
You can still get it done.
It's really never too late. You want to just kind of focus in on what's important to you and go after it. That's it. And if you need help going after it, find it.
Actually, that's a true statement, because I have some friends that didn't invest early, and they're in their 60s, and they're investing now, but they're seeing the fruits of their labor because of the fact that of what just getting into the market. So like you said, it's not a particular time that you have to do it. You can do it anytime.
Absolutely.
The thing is, the key is getting started.
That's it, and that's always the hardest step is the first step.
The first step, and that's what I tell people in savings. You don't have to save. Wait till I get $100. You can save it $5. It can be small.
Whatever it is,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just start.
Taking the first step is a huge deal.
Exactly.
And retirement really needs to be looked at as the first step to the rest of your life.
Exactly.
And that's the message I try to pass on to people. It's not the end of anything.
No.
It's really the first step to whatever it is you see the future as being. And that's what I try to do here. That's what my entire team tries to do. We try to make people's vision for the future happen.
You guys are doing that. You're doing a great job at that.
That's our focus, and that's what we do.
Definitely.
So I've had you on here, I think, long enough today. I really appreciate you coming in. I knew that this was going to be a great story because, you're a regular guy who's doing exactly what he wants to be doing. And that's what I want to share. So thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, folks, I appreciate you listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to like our podcast, and remember to check us out on any of the podcast outlets. Subscribe if you would. If you miss it or you're not part of any podcast subscription service, you can always check us out on our website, 3bfg.com. And hey, it's early in 2022. We want you to get the year started right. And we'll be back soon with another great guest. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to When Good Things Happen. If you enjoyed today's show, visit whengoodthingshappen.com to share your retirement lifestyle dream, access information about our guests, and sign up for our newsletter. Be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Three Bridges Financial Group is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management LLC, AEWM. AEWM and Three Bridges Financial Group are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as a sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Three Bridges Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute as tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Three Bridges Financial Group.